actually can mean something. So you determine what works and what doesn't. You figure out what works, and then you repeat it. So take action, be consistent, measure the results, and repeat what works.
Yeah, double down on what works.
Exactly. So that leads us into number 7, kind of, in an offhanded way. All design must make consuming and finding content easier or more entertaining. So here we're talking about how the juxtaposition of streamlining everything leads to making those things that you have, in fact, made. Maybe you handcraft things for the flea market, right? So can you streamline your production and make more of them faster, cheaper, so you can make a better margin? Maybe you find wholesale products online and you can somehow shorten the process of locating and receiving that product to get it ready to sell. There's different ways to take time out of your process. Online, you want to kind of take words out of your sentences, and your design has to be compelling and drive calls to action, same as it does when you develop your flea market stall and lay out your merchandise for people to shop in. So number 7, all design must make consuming and finding content easier or more entertaining. What have you done there?
So I think this is this actually relates a lot to the flea market world, which is when I go and I want to buy from somebody, I want that process to feel great the whole way through. So I want to be able to like look at the counter, look at whatever you're selling, and go, okay, it was easy for me to find. I really like this thing. Now I would like to give you money to purchase that. And then as he goes, oh, well, do you take cash? You take this, and it's like, oh, we don't do that. We don't do this.
You have change.
Yeah, and you're just making this process of me owning this thing harder. And so this is, I mean, I'm kind of comparing it to flea markets, but this in the website world, it's like, if I have a thing that I want to sell to you, I better make it really easy for you to give me money, right? And not have to ask me 50 million customer service questions like, oh, well, do you take this, and is it out of state, and do it? No. Look, you give me your credit card, give me your cash, give me however you want to pay me. Traveler's checks, I don't care. I can take all of it, and within 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever, you can own this product. I have taken the money, you own this product, no questions asked. We don't have any rules against what we can, take or what we can buy. It's, I think, streamlining the process of completing the actual purchase is making it, making it easy to consume, and then making it easy to find is like, look, when it comes, and this is something I've dealt with in the retail space, which is looking at a store and you just see it just jam packed with product, because there's this old saying in the retail space that if it's not on the floor, it doesn't sell. And while that's true, if there's too much of it on the floor, nothing will sell, because there's just too much,
it's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. People go into choice paralysis. They're like, there's so many things here on the table I can choose. I'm not going to choose any because I don't want, I'm done.
Yeah. So, that's a huge point, choice paralysis. So flea market vendors, being entertaining, making your product, I'm going to rewrite number 7 for our industry.
Sure.
It used to say, and it still says on the website at moneylab.co, all design must make consuming and finding content easier or more entertaining. I say, all flea market vendors are responsible for making and finding and purchasing product more easy and more entertaining. So in the market that I was in, as my friend wandered through there looking at the various artificial flower dealers last weekend, one woman in particular whose doors were not even open, noticed that this woman was looking through her wall, through the see-through cage wall of her stall at the flowers, and came over and asked her if she could help and if she wanted to see something in particular, and then went and fetched something that was out of sight around a corner and brought it over to show, and engaged in conversation and became likable. And for the rest of the afternoon, that was the dealer who was remembered, even though she wasn't open for business. Other dealers who were open for business who didn't look up, didn't entice my friend into their stall, made no connection, and lost the chance to make a sale. So pay attention to being entertaining, simply maybe just meaning that you have a smile on your face. Mm-hmm. And also that your product is easily found, it's easily displayed. Her product was easily viewed through the walls, even when she wasn't open. And what little bit she did have out of sight around a corner, she was happy to go and fetch. Yep. So be helpful.
Yeah.
All right. Number 8. Everything must be created casually, short, and to the point. So it's a lot of work to do number 7 and get everything just right. But number 8 says you need to do it casually and kind of quickly and to the point.
Yeah. This is about editing. This is about editing.
Okay.
Whether that's editing product, like having too many things and, cutting it back to the essentials.
Or specializing.
Or, yeah, exactly. Specializing. Or if you're talking about website copy, it's, when I write emails, I try to do 1 to 2 sentences. When you really don't any more than that, I'm not sure like you need any more than that. And also to speak in a casual, tone, because to me, that just means you're a person. You're not some like corporation who's saying like, using like these big $10 words. Be casual. Be like you're speaking to me in person, and do it in as few words as possible. And this is something that, I just got finished. I was just reading Ben Franklin's biography, and that's sort of that was how he operated like in life, in his personal life was he didn't speak unless he had something very important to say. And when he did say it, there was, he said it in as few words as possible.
Ben Franklin would have been an amazing podcaster.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
And
he just
also
didn't really talk all that much.
And also just, you're right, the value that he would drop in each of his quotable quotes is immense. We could all stand to be more like Ben. One of the things that he did was a pros and cons worksheet that many salespeople are taught about, where you basically draw a T on a piece of paper and write pros on one side and cons on the other. Even children kind of understand the concept. But that's actually called the Ben Franklin list, and you make that when you're making a decision about what's important. You could do that when you're setting up your business. You could do that while you're helping a buyer overcome an objection on a product that you might have for sale. Yeah. But basically, what you have to do, way back in number 1, it was have fun. Mm-hmm. Way down here in number 9, it's do what you're best at, and the money will take care of itself. Number 1 was have fun and get monies, and number 9 is do what you're best at, and the money will take care of itself. Has that proven true for you, Matt?
Yes, that's sort of a take off of an Arlen Crouch quote that I had heard one time, which was similar in its sentence. But the idea, this is a kind of an idea of like, just pick the thing that you're really good at. Like if you're really good at something, chances are people will pay you to do that thing. Whether that's being entertaining or making fake flowers. Like maybe you're really, really good at doing that, right? Maybe even if you're just okay good at it, but you're good, and if you just focus on, doing what you're really good at, then there's going to be value behind it, whatever it is, it's whether it's, telling jokes as a comedian, or if it's like, selling, if it's just general sales, or if it's like making, crafts to sell. It doesn't matter what it is. I just think that if you and it's sort of this idea of like, forget about the money, just let's pretend there is no money. Make something really great. Make something that you would want yourself. And chances are somebody in the world, if they're anything like you, which people are, they'll buy it from you. And it's just a matter of, once you make that thing, finding the people who are like you, who also like the thing that you made, and go, hey, I made this thing, and they go, wow, that's really great. I would like to own one of those things that you made.
And my really friend would really like it too.
Yeah, that's it. And then and then it kind of gets passed along, and that's virality, right? It's like when things go viral, it's because somebody can relate to somebody else, and they go, oh, I have other people in the world who can relate to this too, and they're going to share it, and it's kind of constantly kind of spider out.
So there, I think, and we're not quite to number 10 yet, which is where we're going to wrap up, and we've run a little long. I appreciate you staying with us a few extra minutes, Matt.
Sure.
And in number 9, do what your best at and the money will take care of itself. Maybe that's wrapping wire jewelry, and a lot of people do that, and you might think, well, there's too much competition. But I'm sure you can find a unique selling proposition that we've talked about on the blog to make your jewelry stand out, or be a better value, or be of higher quality, or simply subjectively prettier to a certain segment of the market that's looking for what you do. So there's always a way to position yourself to be entertaining. Perhaps you're sitting there doing wire wrapping in your booth so people can watch you make the jewelry you're about to sell to them. Now they have a personal connection to the maker, and they know, like, and trust you. So there's just to take a common thing that I see at flea markets, wire wrap jewelry, there's still a number of ways I don't see people capitalizing on doing what they're best at in such a way that there's a little bit of a business spin to it, but it's still what they love to do, and they're having fun, and the money's taking care of itself. So there's that. But then, finally, number 10. Do not spread yourself too thin. So, in our industry, in the flea markets, there are people who are hyper-specialized and only sell cell phone cases, for example. They have 1,000 different colors of them, but every single one of them is a $5 cell phone case. One product, one price. It's easy. You walk in, you find what you need, and you leave. There are other people who have, for example, the antiques and the collectibles, and it's this insane, theme park-esque gift shop of stuff. I don't believe I just said theme park-esque, but I started to say a theme park brand name and felt I shouldn't. So, nonetheless, don't spread yourself too thin. Well, even the guy at the flea market that I have my headquarters in for the Flea Market Guide, who sells the most eclectic collection of things, is hyper-specialized at knowing the value of certain kinds of collectibles, sporting goods, tools, antiques. And I notice that while his store is packed with all kinds of interesting peripheral things that he gets in his dealings, he has a core that he's really focused on of tools and things that he has that people can expect to find from him. And he's really good at selling. So he is spread a little thin, but he's focused, and just as an adjunct to what he does as a focus, makes some other money. I think that when you go to the flea market business, you can spread yourself too thin in a number of directions. Online, it's absolutely capable of spiraling out of control.
Yeah.
So Matt, you've been down some rabbit holes.
Yeah.
And you've come back and you've managed to stay on top. For you, what does not spreading yourself too thin look like today? And what are you going to do in the future as we go away from this interview and these 10 rules stick with you and you refine them?
So I think spreading yourself too thin is really about focus. And that doesn't necessarily have to be in what you sell, but in what in actually just making the decision to be that, right? So if it's making the decision like, oh, I want to do flea market, but then I also want to do some other side project, and then I also want to build a deck in my backyard, and I also have to go to work, and I also have kids I got to drop off at soccer, and all of these, that is spreading yourself too thin on a grand scale. On a you pull back the curtains, like that's really what it is. And then it's like, well, you know what? I'm just going to commit to maybe they have a day job. I have a day job, and I'm going to sell, at the flea market on the weekends. That is all I'm going to do. And I think when you hyper focus on completing one thing at a time, and that's sort of where I want to go, like going back to number 6 about, having the deadlines and the timelines to achieve something. It's when I do these challenges, there's nothing else going on, right? It's just, I have one job to do. And that one job is to, create an online course in 7 days, or maybe, write a rap album in 30 days, or maybe it's some other way to make money in that time frame. And as long as I don't try to do that and do 40 other things at the exact same time, then I'll be able to cut through and actually get things done and get things out for sale.
All right. Every single guest, every single time, folks, take action, be consistent, persevere, do what you love, don't worry about the money, just make it happen, and test a lot. Refine, refine, refine. That's basically the theme that you have to follow, whether you're online making businesses like Matt, or whether you're out in the trenches at a flea market on a hot, sweaty day and you forgot your screen so that you don't have shade, and you're sticking it out to make that last sale before the afternoon ends. Either way, it's all about doing it again the next weekend, being consistent, and being a little entertaining along the way, and it'll all come together for you.
Yep.
Right, Matt?
That's exactly right.
All right. So, Matt, thank you so much. Originally I thought we were going to talk about how people could take advantage of of social marketing, using Twitter and Facebook and some things like that to drive traffic to their flea market stalls. And I know that you are a master of driving traffic. In fact, you do it with unique links. You've got a link today at your site. I'll actually go ahead and use your domain, moneylab.co/dingle. That's DINGLE. And I've also got it replicated in case you forget and I'll have both in the show notes at TheFleaMarketGuide.com/dingle. And that is in fact a made-up word. I don't believe you'll find that in the dictionary.
I don't think so.
Don't look in the Urban Dictionary, and don't call me. I don't want to know. But this is Matt's choice of words, and it leads over to his website, where I've warned you, you will see Matt's most choice words. But also some really great educational information about online business, what he's been trying and what's been working and not working for him. And I think that when you look at it with the right set of spectacles on, you'll see a lot of parallels like we discovered today to what we do in the flea market business, and how you can marry it all together to have a grand adventure in starting, growing, and prospering in the flea market industry. Thanks for listening to the Flea Market Guide. I'm your host, Corky Kaericher. Our guest today has been Matt Giovanisci of moneylab.co. And we both look forward to hearing from you on our websites and on our blogs and through our comment forms about what you thought of today's show and how we can improve in the future. Until next time, I'll see you.